Good morning, everyone, and happy 4th of July weekend. I hope you all are doing great. I am here in Flat Rock, North Carolina, and it's a beautiful day. And I got on a little late because I had a little technical glitch. I'm still trying to figure this out, but I'm here and all is well. So good to see everybody, and let's have a good conversation today. But before we get there, I want to just remind you guys that I have a new website up, and on that website, I have all of my upcoming classes, workshops, that type of thing. But the really cool thing that I'm also very excited about is I've actually got the capability. This is actually being streamed live on my website as we speak. So if you jump over there, charlottemcginnis.com, anytime I'm doing a live event, it's streaming live on my website. It's also streaming live on YouTube, which is youtube.com/Inspire YOUTV, Inspire UTV, and of course on Facebook and Zoom. So I'm trying to keep up with all the technical awesomeness here, and I'm looking at my chats here, and it's a new way of being, but be patient. It's all working out. So thank you for tuning in. Also want to remind you on my website, you can submit any prayer requests you have to the ADL prayer ministry. We'd love to offer you prayerful support, which in addition to my prayer ministry, Charlotte McGinnis, it goes to the Alliance of Divine Love prayer ministry and the Unity prayer ministry. So very cool stuff. And you will be prayed for a month. So we'd love to support you in that way. So coming up this week, I'm very excited because I'm actually having my first interview. I'm starting on Wednesday. I call it Heart to Heart, and it's a one-on-one, or it could be a group interview. It's going to be a group interview this week, actually. And this week, I have the pleasure of interviewing a bunch of my Alliance of Divine Love Minister buddies, and we're all going to come together to celebrate the life of our beloved co-founder, Reverend Dr. Barbara Henshaw, who many of us studied under years ago. She was my ministerial teacher 26 years ago in Florida, and she's no longer on the earth plane, but certainly very much in our hearts. And we look forward to having a group conversation talking about Dr. Henshaw. So you can go to my website, charlottemcginnis.com, watch it live, and or you can see it on Facebook or YouTube. So there you have it. So very fun, cool stuff. I love technology, but I am getting the hang of it. And sometimes it takes a little practice, but as I said a minute ago, just be patient and we'll get this all worked out. Well, back to the topic today. United we stand, divided we fall. And I'm going to go into that because our United States is definitely in a time of what many of us would consider turmoil, great change, transformation, however you choose to say it. It's definitely not the same US of A that maybe we remember from our childhood. And a lot of it's really, really great and progressive and awesome. And some of it's difficult and challenging. And so we're going to sort of plow through this and discuss how we can maybe make this transition a little more peacefully and together, and for the greatest degree of love and healing for everybody. So I certainly welcome your feedback, your questions, anything you want to do, type it in. I believe the only feedback I get is on Facebook. So if you're watching on another terminal, then you might not get that. But if you're on Facebook, I'd love to respond and give you a shout out. So united we stand, divided we fall. We've all heard that, right? Well, we're going to dive deeper into that and talk about what that really means and how we can really not only maybe understand it at a heart level, but how we can implement that more strongly in our day-to-day lives to make this transformational shift that we're all going through in this time of awesome change a little more palpable, peaceful, tolerable, and loving. So Well, the original United We Stand, Divided We Fall, that actually came from Patrick Henry. I don't know if you knew that, but the popular motto was often shortened to be United We Stand. It's commonly used to express unity and collaboration. Big words these days, unity and collaboration. The phrase is used to encourage and inspire. It sends the message that working together is easier as there is strength in numbers, whereas doing things alone is harder and invites failure. This phrase has been used time and time again throughout history to rally groups together. Well, I would say more than ever, right now, it's time to rally the troops together, and to rally the troops in the spirit of love and collaboration and community and mutual support for each other. And it doesn't mean that we have to agree to get along and to stand united. And we're going to talk about that in a few moments. So Patrick Henry, back to him. When he was making, I believe, his final speech, he said, "Let us trust God and our better judgment to set us right hereafter. United we stand, divided we fall. Let us not split into factions which must destroy that union upon which our existence hangs." And there's so much power in that, because we can't split into factions that will literally destroy our union. And I think that, in my time here on the earth, I've been here 60 years. I'm politically aware. I won't say I think I'm more so now than I have been in the past. I do watch the news, and I do like to be informed and know what's going on. But I will say that I don't remember there ever being this much division and just anger towards other sides. And if you don't think like I do, then get away from me. I don't want to be your friend. And I see people unfriending on Facebook because they, and good friends, it's kind of like, wow, is that really the godly, kind, loving thing to do? I mean, I believe that there's people that God's rooting for all of us, and we just have to invite God back into the mix. And God, not necessarily the Judeo-Christian God, but God of love, God of unity, that God that is universal, the God of the creator. And so if we really invited spirit or God, which if you're uncomfortable with God, then I would invite you to say love. If we would be willing to invite love back into the decision-making and our way of being, I think we could transform this world in a minute. Truly, in a minute. It only takes an instant for us to shift things greatly. So I do have great hope. But remember, united we stand, divided we fall. So yes, the U.S. is being challenged, and we have so much to lose. We really do. There's people I've spoken to that have traveled the world, and they have shared with me that, there's many things about the U.S. that might not be perfect, and we would like to see different. But the truth is, we still have so many freedoms that other countries don't have. We are so blessed, and we were a nation built on inclusiveness and unity and the Spirit of God. And we really need to bring God back into the mix. Because if God comes first, or love comes first, and I do see an attribute of God being also the greater good for all. Okay, so if we bring that truly into our decision-making process, both individually and collectively, we can transform this world experience from fear to love. So there's many things we can do. Well, I was watching this morning. It was a great segment, by the way. I don't know if you all watch Sunday morning on CBS. I've watched it for years. I think it's just a great little news show. They have uplifting stories, interesting stories, and they had a little segment on the Doobie Brothers. Not where I'm going today, but that was really good. And but the one that caught my attention based on today was about this woman. Her name is Lori Zelensky. She's from New Jersey. And her mother actually started many years ago, I think it was like 30 years ago, an animal rescue in in New Jersey, and she started taking in rescuing animals. And I'm not talking just dogs and cats, birds, lions, bears, all sorts of different reptiles, you name it. They've, over the 30 years, I think they've rescued over 600 animals. And the real thing about this, she calls it the funny farm, and it's a rescue. I would recommend you look at it online. But all these animals live together in unity. So there's no fighting. The birds don't fight with the cats, and the dogs don't go after the cats, and the bears don't go after this, and the lions. And it's really, I mean, it's a vision of what is possible. And like she said, you know, if they can do it, so can we, right? Well, this is, she put herself out there as maybe being a modern day Noah's Ark. And so all these animals, and, you know, instinctively, they're all different, and they maybe have instincts that that would want to attack another or defend themselves or what have you. But they seem to manage. And the reason they do that is because she's made the environment possible for them to do so. And so even if the animals can do it, because that's not in their primal nature, really, if they can do it, so can we. I mean, I think we may be a little smarter than the animals, but then again, maybe we're not. I don't know. But that brought me a great bit of hope too, and also a means of something to bring into the conversation today. So her name is Lori Zielinski from New Jersey, and the Animal Farm. Check it out. It's very cool what she's doing. So I want to talk about, okay, united we stand, divided we fall. Get it? I mean, truly, if we don't learn to cooperate, collaborate, and stand united, I don't think the outcome is going to be one that's very positive for any of us. So we have to be willing to go deeper and to work together, just like the animals on the funny farm. Okay. And we have our own little funny farm here, right? Well, J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter. Actually, I'll give a shout out to my niece and Laura and her husband Cole and the kids. They are at, I think, as we speak, they're at Disney on the Harry Potter part of it. They're down there. They were so excited, so they're down there having a blast in Harry Potter land. Well, J.K. Rowling, she says that we are only as strong as we are united, as weak as we are divided. So as strong as we are united and as weak as we are divided. Well, sadly, I think we're more divided than united right now. And that weakens the link. You know, it's like they say, the chain is only as strong as the weakest link. Right now, that chain ain't very strong. So we got to build it back. We got to plug back into unity and peace and healing and transformation and all good, because we really do all have the same goals, dreams, visions. I think we all want to be happy. We want to see each other be happy and fed. We don't want to see anyone suffer, really, unless we have some sort of mental illness. I don't think we really ever want to see anyone suffer. So we have to be willing to let all that go. And like, what is it that unifies us, not divides us? Always look for that. Well, Pink Floyd, okay, you know, the rock and roll band, I think from the 60s or 70s, I think 70s, the song Hey You contains the following lyric: Hey you, don't tell me there's no hope at all. Together we stand, divided we fall. So again, that was, I believe, during, you know, the hippie transformational time of the 70s and 60s and 70s. And, you know, there was a lot of uproar about, you know, division and turmoil. And it's like, hey, you, don't tell me there's no hope at all. Together we stand, divided we fall. So again, we can't allow ourselves to go into being divided. It will never win. We'll never prevail there. We will get sucked down a rabbit hole that I don't think any of us want to go into. Def Leppard, okay, another pop band or popular or band back in the 60s and 70s, I think 70s. When love and hate collide, That was the song When Love and Hate Collide. There's a phrase in the lyrics there: I got your number on my wall, but I ain't going to make that call. When divided we stand, baby, united we fall. So divided we stand, united we fall. Well, again, that's a little flip side there. I would have to say they switched up the phrase of, obviously. I can't say I agree with this, because I do have to say that, baby, united we stand, divided we fall. And of course, that brotherhood of man, remember that song that it says, if our backs should ever be against the wall, united we stand, divided we fall. And so this has been sort of drilled into our minds for many, many years, depending on how long you've been on the planet. If you've been on as long as Patrick Henry, a long time. And then the bands in the 70s and J.K. Rowling, and I think you got the point. Well, one thing I'm going to bring up today is something that I see great division in this. And I think by now, you all do know that I am a seeker of truth. I don't want to just drink the Kool-Aid from nobody's gonna. I want to I talked a couple of weeks ago about critical thinking. I want to figure out the answers for myself. I don't want the news media, certain channels, to dictate how I perceive and think. I really want to think from my heart. I want to see the big picture and bring it into my heart and ask for guidance and find the truth in all things. I don't want to just say, oh, well, CNN says this, or Fox says that, or MSNBC says that, so that must be the way it is. And I can promise you, if you listen to one of those stations, and just if you've got your news channel set just on one of those, you are going to be leaning in one direction. I can promise you that. So I would recommend that you maybe change the channels around a little bit, see other perspectives that are out there, and then maybe you'll understand why people are so holding on so strongly to their beliefs and thoughts about things, because both sides get beat up pretty badly by the other side. I think our political system is so far divided. We're so far right, so far left. We've got to get back into some sort of meeting place. And one of the issues that I find very interesting is the belief that if you are in alignment with a certain political belief system, party, that you have to be a racist to be in that party. And that is certainly a pretty prominent conversation that I've heard over the past couple of years. And I'm thinking, well, gosh, I know people that are in that political party and think maybe differently than I do about things, but I'd never call them a racist. And yet immediately just throw the baby out with the bathwater and just, yep, if they're following this belief system or this, then they're a racist. And I have to say that I don't agree with that. And if I've taken the time to look into it, and I believe people are all inherently good. I think we're a product of our programming. I think that we sometimes get caught up in fear and our programs and our wounds and things like that, which make us react and have to take a stand and make the other side wrong. Because actually, if I have to make another side wrong, I feel it's because I'm not confident enough in my own self. So I feel like I'm strengthening my stance if I can somehow make you wrong. So this is about really taking the higher road, really rising above right and wrong and left and right and all of the above, and just inviting the Spirit of God, the Spirit of love into our minds and our hearts, and being led to make decisions from that place. So back to the racism, Candace Owens, I do like her. She does tend to be on the conservative channels, by the way. She's a beautiful Black woman, very smart and, savvy and obviously not a racist. And certainly I just like a lot of what she says. Can't say I agree with everything, but I do like a lot of who she is and what she says. And I feel her spirit and her message and her intentions are pure. I really do. And she says, America is not a racist country. Anyone claiming otherwise has a vested interest in keeping us divided. The easiest way to maintain power over any group is to keep those within it at war with one another. Candace Owens. So this is by design. I really do believe, you sort of hear this is a battle of good and evil. And how can we gain the most strength except keep people divided? Because if we keep people at war, keep them divided, keep them separate, keep them angry, then you can control them. So folks, if I see it so strongly, and I see how we're being manipulated by the media, look at this, even these stupid phones. I love it. Okay. By the way, you are beautiful. Anyway, I see it all the time on the, even on my phone, we're being brainwashed. And so we have to really begin to just not give in to the status quo and think a little more for ourselves and think more from love, because as long as the forces of control, which I do believe that there is some sort of agenda to keep us pitted against each other. And I believe that both sides are guilty of it, okay? Because the more we can keep people angry and pitted against each other, the more that we can be controlled. And that's what my belief is. And I'll stand by that. What can I say? So Deepak Chopra, we know him, right? Most everyone on this channel watching me would know who Deepak Chopra is. And love this. He says, if you and I are having a single thought of hatred or violence against anyone in the world at this moment, we are contributing to the woundedness of the world. Well, any hatred towards anyone. We got to love everyone, but just because we love everyone and forgive everyone doesn't mean we have to are condoning or liking even what's going on. It just means that I'm willing to, I saw a sign on a church. I think I saw it on Facebook. It says, it was one of those church signs, and it says, forgive everybody, I'll sort them out later, God. So basically, our job, our function is to forgive. We don't have the big picture. We're just responding and making decisions based on our belief systems and our programming, and then we're clinging to them. And then anyone who doesn't agree with what we believe to be the truth, well, there you have it. So pitted against each other, right? So we got to be willing. Certainly do your study. Like I said, learn to think critically and learn to come to your own conclusions, but those are your conclusions, and be willing to allow other people the same respect. That's the blessing of being an American. That's why we're here on the 4th of July, to celebrate our independence, our freedom, our liberty, the pursuit of happiness, all of these, the above. This country was founded on beautiful principles. And if we lose it, we'll never get it back. We're the only country in the world that still has the freedoms and the liberties that we have, and they are dwindling away minute by minute. If you pay attention, we're losing some of these. So we have to go back to our founding fathers' original message, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that put God first, really the religious freedoms, freedom. Freedom is huge, folks. It's huge. And we are blessed. So America really can't be great again till we do come back to this decision to put God first, to put love first, to above all else. I'm free to think what I want to think and come to my own conclusions, but above all else, I want the will of God to be revealed, the will of love to be revealed. I was sharing with some friends the other night, if you go back to Iran, pre-Ayatollah, it was a very progressive country. The women were beautiful, they were fashionable, they were educated, they were a part of society. And not too long after, they lost their freedoms, and then, well, they lost their freedom, their liberties, their control. They wear burqas, and this is not a fear mongering talk, but it is something to recognize that how fast things can happen. And so we really need to go deep and to bring forth the power of love into this mix, or we're going to be in big trouble. Because in my mind, everybody is a child of God. We're all divine. We're all holy. We're all one. We're all equal. And if we go too strong towards one side, it's not, a lot of things can happen that maybe aren't so positive. So again, I'm here for I'm optimistic. I'm positive. I do believe that our greatest days are ahead, but it's kind of like we're shaking out a little bit, and things are rumbling a little bit, and people are up in arms about the recent Roe v. Wade decision, and the implications of what follows that are intense. And so I definitely think that in that situation too, speak your voice, speak your truth, whatever it is, but do it from love. Do it from you might want to ask yourself to tune into your heart. You always see me do this. Just tune into your heart and say, what is the greatest degree of love for everybody in this situation? Erase your program. I want to know the thoughts of God. I want to know what love would do in this situation, not what my programs and Char's agenda is in this. I'm really becoming aware of when I get caught up in my agenda versus the agenda of source, of God, creator, love. So one little quote, I'm sure you all have heard it, seen it over the past few years. It's become kind of popular, and it says, if your religion makes you hate someone, then time to find a new religion. Well, I personally, again, have spent my past 30 years really seeking to find the common thread that flows through all religions, and that which unifies us, not divides us. Because it's really, if you look at and I find the message of Jesus to be the most inspiring. I think that he came here to teach us. He's a master teacher. He's our elder brother. He's a teacher. He's a friend. And he came here to teach us unconditional love, forgiveness at a level that's never been taught or offered before. And he came here to say, even the least among us can do all he's done and greater things. And I do believe that Jesus is a universal teacher. I don't believe that Christianity has ownership of Jesus and his message. I believe it's a very universal message that has been misrepresented. Maybe I think man and ego and control has taken all religions and mucked them up. So if you look for that common thread, Jesus didn't hate anybody. He loved everybody. He offered forgiveness. He was kind. He was compassionate. He was loving. He performed miracles because his mind was so healed. His heart was he lived so much from his heart that everything was able to just be transformed by his mere presence. And that's what we're here to wake up to in ourselves. But as long as we're pitting against each other, united we stand, divided we fall. He was a uniter, not a divider. I think it was Jimmy Carter said, if Jesus were to show up on the planet today, he'd probably be crucified again. And that's because, the truth is that the brighter the light is, the stronger the truth is, the more resistance that it's very frightening to the dark. especially if people have a strong belief and an agenda that they're trying to fulfill. And here's the light saying, love everybody, forgive everybody. Well, kill it, get rid of it, right? So I can tell you that I have been crucified more for good deeds that I've done in my than I have anything negative that I've done in my life. So I do believe that, and I think you all can relate to that as well, because the light is threatening to the dark often, and it challenges, I think, us to go deeper and to be stronger. So I have to, how do I turn my light bulb on even brighter? I have to question every belief and value that I have. And when I get upset, why am I upset? Why do your thoughts and viewpoints make me angry and upset? Why am I not willing to forgive? So you're doing a constant sort of check-in. And when you check in, you realize that it's your own, I believe, I'll just speak for myself. It's my own insecurities that provoke my need to judge. It's fear. So one of my favorite quotes from A Course in Miracles, those who see themselves as whole make no demands. So the more healed we become, you can just be in the world, not of it. I don't have to react. I can just bless everything. I can have my opinions. I can act on those. And I don't have to make anyone else wrong to make me feel, to strengthen my viewpoints. Think about it. How often do you see people or media? How often are they just constantly beating the other side, beating the other side? How often do we do that in our personal life? Why do you do that? Because it's insecurity. Because I'm not feeling strong enough myself that I have to beat that other person down. Jesus didn't have to beat other people down. He just loved and blessed them. And that's what I aspire to every single day. So because I read this morning, the moment we break faith with one another, the sea engulfs us and the light goes out. So I think we're seeing that light dimming because we're breaking faith with each other. We're dividing, we're angry, it's not working, and the sea will engulf us. And that's not what we want. This is a critical time in our history, in our time here on earth, for millennia, that we can either catapult to a greater sense of awareness and love and light, or we can fall into the depths of despair and fear and darkness. It's pretty critical at this point. We're definitely at a tipping point. So I would invite us all that we maybe go to that tipping point, leaning towards love rather than the need to be so right and self-righteous all of a sudden. The Three Musketeers, all for one and one for all, right? Aesop, didn't you love those Aesop's fables? I used to love those when I was a kid. Well, Aesop says, in union there is strength. There you go. But union of love, not unity and division, unity of love. There is strength in union and hatred too, but we have to be willing to be in union in love. Gandhi, unity to be real must stand the severest strain without breaking. So right here, we're strained and we're at a tipping point. We have to be willing to stay in our power even more. The power of love, not in the power of being right, not in the power of pointing fingers, but the power of love, that I'm willing to see past any judgment I've made towards you or a situation or anything. And I'm willing to go right to the light and the love of that person. Because when a brother acts insanely, it's a call for love. It's fear. It's programming. And it's nothing more than, nothing less. So it's ultimately a call for love. So we just need to offer a stronger sense of love back. Martin Luther King, he was a great master who walked the planet in most of our lifetimes. We have learned to fly the air like birds and swim the sea like fish, but we have not learned the simple art of living together as brothers and sisters. Yeah. So what good is all this technology, all of these blessings, that we have that we think are so cool and give us all this superpower, all these bombs and and we've got all, we can fly in there, we can sail across the ocean, we can do all these really awesome things. We got this technology, but we can't get along. I mean, that's messed up. Okay. So it's time for us to really, you begin to laugh at it when you see we're really not as together as we might think we are, right? There is a better way. I always like to reflect back on the civilizations, and I'm particularly fond of the indigenous folks in Australia, the Aborigines, and their ability. We would look at them and say, oh, those poor people, they have nothing, and they live naked. They don't have they don't have really a house, maybe a hut. They don't have a stockpile of food or this or that, which I do. But anyway, I think we all have our comforts, but yet they're so tuned in to all their needs are met. They're so tuned into nature. They can actually find water in the midst of the desert. They can find food anywhere. They can be out in the middle of where there is no food, and then they find it because they're so tuned in. Their needs are being met. They can heal themselves because they don't have all the distraction of the stuff and the worry and the judgment, and they just live simply. So there is a balance. I think that there are blessings that come from, I love the comforts of my home and the ability that I have to do a lot of things, but I do know in my heart that is, there's something far greater than that too. And I don't ever want to lose sight of that. Cooperation is through conviction that nobody can get there unless everybody gets there. So I do take this to believe too. I think that the final step from this illusion of separation, this dualistic world based on good and evil, that final step where we all, as Shakespeare says, all the world's a stage and we're just all playing our role. Well, that final step where the disappearance of the universe, and when we awaken to the non-duality, the loveliness of who we are and who each other is, the oneness, the purity, the unity, is holding our brother's hand and no one is exempt. So the Course in Miracles says a teacher of God is generous out of self-interest, meaning that my salvation, my final step, is incomplete until my heart is, all my stuff is healed, because I believe that our souls are on a journey to awaken to the truth. And until we can see that everything is only love and that we are all one, well, united we stand, divided we stay asleep, right? John Kennedy, the unity of freedom has never rallied on uniformity of opinion. So it's not our opinions that are going to save us. Okay. I think that, it's our spirit of unity. Yes, we can have our opinions and we can act on those as long as they're coming in the spirit of unity. So there's so many great things here I could continue to share. And Alexander the Great, I will share this one. Remember, upon the conduct of each depends the fate of all. So each of us has a role in this grand awakening, in this ascension process. And our role is to embrace everything in love, unity, and peace. So as we, move into July 4th, today's the 3rd, tomorrow will be the 4th. The weekend of this is a time to celebrate the birth of our nation and the blessings that have been bestowed upon us. Really take that into your heart and maybe say, where am I still holding on to grievances or duality and thoughts that condemn rather than thoughts that heal and bring unity. And one of my favorite songs, probably my favorite song ever, is Imagine. And John Lennon, I think it's got the most beautiful, powerful lyrics. And I love just this one segment of it. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will be as one. So that's my message today. I do pray that I know that I'm not the only one who feels this way. I think we need to examine where we can do better. We need to be grateful for the blessings that we have to have a conversation like this, and to be able to share our differences, but do that in the spirit of love and unity. And if we do that, we can restore the heart of our nation in an instant. And with that, that ripple effect will, and by all means, affect everybody, which is really what we want. So thank you all for tuning in. I hope you guys have a great 4th of July and many blessings. And if you want to support the ministry, CharlotteMcGinnis.com, you can go on there. You can make a donation if you choose. There's a donation page there. Also, if you choose to share this, spread the word, tell your friends, I would be grateful. And make sure you join us Wednesday for that heart-to-heart conversation, and look on the website and see if there's something else that looks interesting to you. In the meantime, be safe, be well, and be happy. Namaste.